Renee, last Saturday, it's fair to say how disappointed everybody was. The scoreline certainly didn't reflect the performance that the team gave you at Goodison Park.
No, not at all. I think anybody that would have got the score coming in, or on the mobiles or seen it on TV would have thought it's a bit of a doing for Fulham, but that wasn't the case at all, and therefore so more disappointing for us. I think you look at the game in the whole, I think we started quite well. We didn't really keep it up in the first half and were maybe to some extent quite lucky. It was only 1-0 to Everton, but we actually, after changing a few things round and we got on the front foot, we really put them under pressure. We got some early chances, which resulted eventually to the penalty. We got the equaliser, and the disappointing thing is that we couldn't hold on long enough, and the goal that especially the second one, I thought was disappointing because those, it was avoidable, let me put it this way. And if you could have carried on that 1-1 a bit longer into the game, we probably would have got something out of it. And that second goal, took a little bit of wind out of sails.
3 games in and 3 points on the board. I know that that still leaves the team in the bottom 3, and that's not the kind of return that you're looking for. And just the visit of Manchester City to Craven Cottage tomorrow. How are you approaching that one?
Well, you can look at it from whatever angle you want. At the end of the day, you still have got 90 minutes plus in front of you against a very, very strong team, which will be pushing for winning the title probably. But having said that, I'll always look at it from the positive side in that respect. I keep saying is the only disappointing thing, like you mentioned, is exactly that. 3 games where I think I should have definitely had 5. We could have had 6. We maybe could have had 7, but the bottom line is 3. But most important thing is every single performance has been good, has been positive. So we need to draw confidence from that. And it's the same thing again. Look at the last performance of the game that we did win at home against Aston Villa was excellent. And that's what we need to look at, and that's what we need to carry on in a game against Manchester City.
Mentally, does it make a difference that it's almost like, it is Manchester City, it's a game that probably nobody expects you to get anything from? Does that give the players more confidence in the dressing room that they have a point to prove, or is it simply a case of making sure that you get what you've been doing on the training pitch right for 90 minutes?
Well, that number one.
Not simply a case, obviously.
that number one. That's always the case. Can we do the things we set out to do, and can we, as much as we can, play our own game? So we are, again, like on the front foot. But I think, and I always reassure that to the players, we further back to the players, that's where you want to be a football player for. That's where you want to walk out to in the Premier League against the big guns. And that's where you're going to test yourself, and that's where you want to really, really show that you can, measure yourself with the best ones in the Premier League, and that's the challenge that we have, and that's how we're going to look at it.
Mr. Khan will be at the game on Saturday, and I know he was here yesterday, and you had a long chat with him. How is that? How is his mood regarding the position?
Very good. I mean, he is a very, very positive person from nature. He's always, smile on his face. He's very into wanting to know what's going on and around the team and the things, and at the same time he's very relaxed. It shows that after our meeting, obviously we had lunch in the canteen, and Mr. Khan had lunch with some of the players, and spoke to a few, with Steve Sidwell, I think, and George Karagounis and all that, which is good. So he's got a feel for what's in the players' minds as well, and he gets a bit of feedback from how the players are looking at this and how they're finding it.
I know there are lots of tough games coming up, and they come very quickly around about this period, and their teams in and amongst Fulham. Is it a very pivotal time for you to pick up, obviously it's important to pick up points, but do you benchmark the rest of the season on the next games that are coming up? Or does that make it too critical a period when there's a lot of football still to play?
I think the moment that you are, and like I said, luckily it is very tight from even just above the bottom 3. And I think, you might be staying 3 places above the bottom 3 and I think you're happy as Larry and everything goes. Then you've got boom, 3 losses, and you're there. So really, it's critical for everybody. At the top, it's critical. They can't lose because they need to push to stay to first place. Just below that, it's critical because they want to get into Champions League place. Below that is into Europe, and when you go down, it's more for relegation, which is a lot of team involved, including us. So it's always critical and pivotal. But at the end of the day, it's making sure that you focus on the right things, on the performances that we're going to put in, rather than the outcome. That's I think where you can go really, really wrong if you start. We have to. Yes, in the back of our minds, of course, we want to pick up as many points as we can, you know, over this Christmas period, starting tomorrow.
Do you make targets, or is that not something?
In my head, definitely, yes.
Not a pressure on the players to make targets.
Well, I think obviously even before I took over, you know, Martin had, and they know that, the players know that. They've always set out targets, you know, to reach, and they know. I mean, they've played, like I said, I've got a group of very, very experienced players that know, and they've played this Premier League so often, and they know if we get to that stage, then if we get to this, if we get to that, and they know, yes, you know, you've got really tough teams to play against, you know, Manchester City, Arsenal, Man United, Chelsea, all of them, and you've got players where you think you probably fancy your chances a bit more, and that's where you really need to make it count.
And in terms of general fitness levels, I know that you've had pretty much a full complement of players to train with, which is good news for the busy games coming up. Absolutely.
I had a full squad to train with. Even Hugo Rodallega has joined us now with the group, so he's, you know, still working on his match fitness, but he's medically fitting well to train, so no, it's perfect. Which
and
gives us
rehabilitation.
It's good. It's going really well. It's going in course. He's very positive. I've seen him, you know, every time I've got a little chat how he is, but he's very, very positive. So hopefully he stays on course and you know, and gets back, you know, which gives us, you know, even more options, you know, in the future.
Mm-hmm. And just finally, I know that there's a certain American in the building currently having a medical.
Yeah.
How important would Clint be coming back for a couple of months if that all goes through?
Well, yes, it'll be great, fantastic. I mean, you know, you just look at, you know, the history he has actually created here for this football club. He spent his many years here, and we know what he's all about. He's an out and out winner. You know, he's a goal scorer, so he gives us you know, a real boost. In and around the training ground, you know, during training sessions and hopefully in the games.
Well, we hope that happens, and we wish you luck tomorrow.
Thank you very much.